Okay, it's a quick video for myself, Harvey Goldman. Really important one today. It is, I'm looking at my computer, Friday the 26th, and it is 6:45. So as of today, the current petition on the parliament.uk website against digital ID cards sits at 1,129,982 signatures. And of course, mine has been added to that. So, an important video. Basically, today, Keir Starmer stood up and announced that there was a national digital identity scheme. It's going to be called the Brit Card, of all things. It's a mandatory digital ID that the government intends to make basically the default for right to work checks and a whole host of other public facing services. And they're hoping to do that by the end of this parliament. So basically, they're going to try and ruin everything for everybody because they know they're not going to get another term. My own opinion, and it is my own opinion, of why this is coming is that Starmer's had such a crap run with the economy and immigration and a whole host of other scandals that have befallen his tenure for the last sort of, I don't know, 16, 18 months, that he now needs new headlines. And this is something that probably somebody's advised him to go ahead with, saying it'll be, yeah, a great idea, that it will rally support and it will sweep the other problems off the news. It's a shit idea. Let's make no bones about it. The headline for this is simple. Basically, to work legally in the UK, you will need this digital credential. So the fact that you might have a national insurance number, a birth certificate, a driver's license, you might have council tax bills that go to your address and other stuff that you can use as proof of address that backs up your ID. You may have a passport. All these other things, including the fact that you've already got a tax code and a HMRC number, are completely irrelevant. They want to bring this in anyway because they are convinced that it's going to stop illegal immigration. Now, I think that everybody, whether you're left, whether you're right, whether you're red, blue, whatever, we all know that the answer to stop illegal immigration, whether it's what you want or it's what you don't, the answer, how you stop it, is to simply turn the boats away. That's how you do it. An ID card is not going to make an iota of difference because anybody that's coming here illegally is probably not going to worry too much about the law regarding the right to work. They're going to look for jobs that are cash in hand. They're going to look for opportunities to work under the radar. And let's face it, they've been caught throwing their IDs overboard on the way here. So it makes no sense. My own view, again, my own view would be that, yeah, introduce a digital ID. Do it on the beach, fingerprint all of these mugs coming off the boats, and then give them the digital IDs for their right to work. I don't need a right to work. So literally, the long and short of this for me is that if my employer, who I've already presented all my credentials to and already have been with for a few years, if they came up to me and said, you now need to go and get yourself a digital ID to continue working at the company, I would literally take redundancy. I would just say, right, how much are you offering me not to be here? And then I would go full bore self-employed and not have to worry about it. Public services, though, is another matter. Basically, they're going to lock things like the NHS, things like the ability to do your taxes online. They're on about putting motor vehicles into the app so that you can control your car. Nicely tied in with the pay per mile policy that was purported to be coming in as well, between 3 and 9 pence per mile, additional to vehicle tax based on the weight of your vehicle. So all these people that have bought electric cars, like myself, that weigh about 2.5 tons, are going to be absolutely shafted, having bought an EV to try and do the right thing. It's madness. In the words of Andrew Tate, love him or hate him, it is clown world. Basically, the pitch that the government gives with this is quite familiar. So it's one login, it's fewer forms, it's easy to access your services, and it's a stronger front against illegal work and rogue employers. How is that a me problem? That's a government problem to deal with. That's not a problem that I need to deal with. Basically, the Prime Minister has framed it as an enormous opportunity. And his officials, they keep repeating slogans that it's to modernise checks and it's to protect services and make things efficient. And the officials do keep repeating that people won't have to carry a physical card and that the system's going to be free and accessible and everything else. Come on, we know this is bollocks. Absolute bollocks. They've tried it in Australia, they've tried it in Germany, they've done it in China to a whole new level, which is literally where this will go. On paper, it all sounds lovely, but in practice, it's going to be messy as hell. And you've got the constant risk that the government aren't going to be dealing with your data. And even if they were, let's face it, their track record of leaving laptops on trains and everything else that's kind of gone wrong, their track record with security is a bit lackluster, to say the least. Obviously, they're going to create an NGO that they can then feral money to that will deal with it. So there's going to be some third-party organisation, probably semi-government, that's going to be managing everybody's data as a whole. So it's not just going to be a bit of your data here, a bit of your data there. It's going to be your entire life on a chip. And that's going to be very alluring to hackers from different nations. They're going to love the idea that they can get everything on anybody. At the moment, although it might be a bit haphazard, having to do a login to NHS, a login for your tax, you've got your passport is a manual thing, your driving license is a manual thing. It keeps everything safe. That splitting up of your credentials, it makes it secure. It's a bit like having all of your passwords in one place and then just letting one company deal with it. And I know there are companies that do that. You've got companies that do password vaults where you do one-click logins and you've got 2FA. Even they're quite risky because, again, they've got all of your passwords. They don't just have your Facebook or your Google, they've got your entirety. It could be 150 or more. It's mental. So the first problem that I see with this, the first real problem, is that when you centralize everything in this way, and we've seen this before, you get mission creep. So that's when you weld together multiple identity checks, things like employment, banking, housing, welfare, whatever it might be. You put them into a single verified system. You create a linkable record that can be repurposed. So today, it's for the right to work checks. However, if they tie it in with online safety and NHS checks and HMRC checks and control of your bank account and everything else, at that point, what's its end use going to be? So today it's for right to work. I mean, tomorrow it could be an insurance company that buy the data off the council. If the council's getting skint, they might just slyly sell it. A data broker might approach the NGO that's created to deal with the data and could make them an offer they can't refuse. They might want a piece of that same identity chain. And basically, in the history of national ID projects across the world, it shows that national ID projects, they start out as convenience, that's how they're peddled, that's how they're pushed through, and they quickly invite scope creep. Unless they are ironclad, fully legal, and there are monstrous technical limits put in place on these, the damage that can be done would absolutely be irreversible. We've seen systems with fairly noble starts that end up tying health, taxes, biometric data, all of it together in ways that are really hard to unwind. And the fact that they're proposing to do this before the end of their term, which, let's face it, is going to be their final term, I think at the moment, if there was a hung Parliament vote, Reform have got over 300 sort of seats. Labour are down from 300 to about 140. Conservatives have got about 70, and then the others are kind of bottom feeders. But if there was a hung Parliament vote basically reform would get in, and then Labour have left them with this huge mess that they then have to undo. It's ridiculous. The second issue that I see with this is obviously the security risk. When you've got centralized identity databases, or even just centralized databases, these are basically new gold for unscrupulous hackers. When a single key can open up 1,000 doors, or in this case, 68 million doors, the impact of a breach is catastrophic. It's not just a stolen password or two, it's a stolen identity that you can't change. We've already seen large national identity systems that have suffered because of simple technical flaws or just shitty endpoints. The price of rolling this out across 68 or so million people is just one successful exploit away from mass identity theft. And at the end of the day, what would that do? That would cause a systemic breakdown in the UK. The economy would collapse. The UK would literally grind to a halt. Everybody would stand to lose everything they've worked for, they've saved for. The only things you'd probably have left would be what's in your house and the clothes on your back. And that's the long and short of it. If the UK goes down this route, then we all need to absolutely accept that the surface area for attacks multiplies hugely. And I don't believe that that's anywhere that any of us want to be. The third thing to bear in mind is obviously that this isn't going to solve the problem. It's not going to solve the boat problem. It's not going to solve anything that it promises to fix. Illegal work and irregular migration, or illegal migration, let's just call it what it is, they aren't the end result of failed paperwork. They're the end result of shit policies. It's driven by geography. It's driven by Britain and also all the other countries on the way to Britain being soft touches and just wanting to wash their hands of any of the drama. It's easier for France just to turn a blind eye and let the people walk through their country, do what they want, because they know that the UK is the end point. They know that we're the softest touch out of the 8 or 9 countries they've been to get to ours. And it's mental. I do see that digital ID could be a benefit for legal migration. It could be a benefit if you did something like Trump is doing, where you've got specialist visas that are offered to people that are technically gifted or particularly skilled in a certain industry. We want those people. We need those people. Those are the immigrants. Those are the kind of incomers, if you like, that benefit our beautiful country. That they produce a net benefit, not a net debt. And I can't believe the lackadaisical attitude that the current government have got to this. It's mental. It's not just driven by geography either. It's organised criminals. That's a massive thing behind it. There are people that are making hundreds of thousands, if not millions, off all of these people coming over. And I know GB News did Patrick Christie went over there, and they were paying anywhere from €1,500 to €3,000 per person to get on a boat. So if you do the math on that, and a boat's got 50 people on it, those boats are close to 100 grand a time, if not more. It's mental. It is mental. What they need to do is to mandate a digital credential for formal employment for migrants. And that's it. They need to leave the rest of us out of it. We're happy with the ID that we've got. I'm happy with the credentials that I've got. I'm happy with the paperwork I have to fill in to access services. I don't need something slid under the rug under the guise of my convenience. Or bring these in and make it entirely optional and keep it entirely optional. That way, it helps the people that want their life on a chip. And for those of us that know better, we don't have to worry about it. Now, obviously, this has caused massive scorn across the whole political spectrum. Most notably, Nigel Farage, also Kemi from the Conservatives. They voiced criticisms really for and against, but mostly criticisms against. A single app or single ID isn't going to do anything to help or prevent channel crossings. And it won't suddenly make rogue employers play fair. Why would they? They're already flouting the rules. They've already got the cheapest labour. They already don't give a shit about the rules that are put in place and the laws and the fines. It's £50,000 per illegal worker, and they're still flouting the rules. Clearly, it's worth it for them not to adhere to the rules. The fourth thing to bear in mind here is exclusion and fairness. So, despite promises to accommodate people without smartphones, digital ID regimes historically disadvantage the very people that you claim to help. The elderly, the infirm, the digitally excluded, homeless people, for example, and also some genuine migrants. If proof of identity becomes a legal prerequisite for working, for accessing benefits, or even things like renting a house or getting a job, you risk creating an even bigger split, a division, a two-tier population. We've already got two-tier government, we've already got two-tier policing. I mean, come on, how much further can it go? Those who can navigate a new technical bureaucracy and those who can't. That's the divide. And that's a social policy that erodes people's rights. And let's not forget, there is a Bill of Rights that we've got in the UK. And if you're unsure of the law regarding this, read the Bill of Rights regarding sovereignty, regarding your rights as a UK citizen. It's an eye-opener. So finally, there's a governance problem. So oversight bodies, regulatory frameworks need to be put in place. I can guarantee that they're not there yet, and if they are, they're half-assed. Parliamentary scrutiny needs to be far stronger than just a quick word in the Prime Minister's ear and then a press release, and then we're doing it. Nobody has voted for this. Nobody wants this. And the people that do want this are probably the same ones that volunteered their left arm 5 years ago for a jab 4 or 5 times and would willingly do it again. Who cares? They're not the majority vote. The majority do not want this. The Information Commissioner's remit has shifted recently under new legislation, and that makes the question of who actually polices this data even more urgent. So if the legal guardrails are weak, which we should all assume they should be, the temptation to merge public data, outsource verification to a third party, to a private firm, to your golfing buddy who needs a punt, needs to grow his business, it does happen, then your identity is basically now monetized for the benefit of somebody else. I mean, come on. That's irresistible to anybody that's rogue, wants to make money on the sly. There are going to be backhanders going on left and right. It's going to be favours for friends, and we're the ones that are going to lose out. You, me, and everybody else that's been mugged off with life on a chip. So my opinion on this is that it risks trading short-term political theatre, which, let's face it, is what he's doing, for long-term structural shift. The increased surveillance is a real security risk and also a privacy breach, massively so. It's the exclusion of vulnerable people and the illusion of a fix where, let's face it, it doesn't exist. If this is to proceed at all, I mean, 100%, the petition that I'm staring at now was at 1,129,000, and right now, 20 minutes later into this video, I'm watching it clock up, it's at 1,152,000. People do not want this. The government need to stand up and listen to the people that are putting this petition out there. And let's not forget how petitions work. Great, we've got just over 1 million signatures on a digital petition. And when Brexit was proposed to go through, we had over 6 million and nothing happened. It barely got a whisper in Parliament. So the rule is that the government responds after 10,000 signatures. After 100,000, there has to be a parliamentary debate. You can petition the government to go against it if you're unhappy with the outcome. After that, your option is to petition the king. And that's it. So what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on digital ID? What are your thoughts on the announcement that was made barely an hour and a half ago that this is going to be forced upon us, like it or not. Nobody voted for it, and yet we're getting it anyway. Drop it in the comments, let me know. YouTube's going to put another video there. Like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz, and there will be another video tomorrow. Goldman, peace out.